Path of Exile will be releasing 15 November. Each day it's closer to the release of this great RPG that most of us are waiting for. This is a new game, especially for players trying Path of Exile for the first time. But don't be afraid, I know Path of Exile is very complex, but grinding gear games are doing a big effort to make Path of Exile 2 easier for beginners. So in this video I'm talking about everything you need to know to start playing Path of Exile 2 on 15 November. Let's start with game modes and leaks. In Path of Exile 2 there are 4 base modes confirmed: the standard, hardcore, solo self-found and hardcore solo self-found. The standard is the base game with no extra rules, you can trade with other players, play in a party and all the base features. The hardcore mode is exactly like standard with a single difference: you only have one life in this mode. If you die, your character will be moved to the standard mode, so you don't lose anything. The solo self-found mode, you cannot trade or play with other players, everything you have is found by yourself. The hardcore solo self-found is a combination of hardcore and solo self-found. If you die in this mode, your character will be moved to the solo self-found. At any point you can move your character from solo self-found to standard, unless you are playing hardcore. In this mode you need to die to be able to move your character. Overall, pick the mode you think you will enjoy most. If you are looking for a good challenge, pick hardcore. If you enjoy more cooperation and playing with other players, just go for the standard mode, but if you are a lone wolf, go for the solo self-found. Challenge leaks. If you have been searching about Path of Exile, you may have heard about something called leaks. Leaks are the seasonal content, where every new season you can find new features in game. You can think of standard, hardcore, solo self-found and hardcore solo self-found as internal league, where the old characters rest, and the leagues where most of players play the game. When a new league comes out, you won't have any characters carrying over from the previous one. You will need to create a new fresh character to play the new league. When a league finishes, your character will migrate to their respective internal game mode. In Path of Exile 2 there are 12 based classes, each class with her own signature weapon or ability, as well their strongest single attribute or combination. The Marauder plays with axes and the strongest attribute is strength. Warrior plays with maces and the strongest attribute is strength. Ranger plays with bows and strongest attribute is dexterity. Huntress plays with spears and strongest attribute is dexterity. Witch plays with minions and occult spells and the strongest attribute is intelligence. Sorceress plays with elemental spells and the strongest attribute is intelligence. Duelist plays with swords and the strongest attribute combination is strength and dexterity. Mercenary plays with crossbows and the strongest attribute combination is strength and dexterity. Shadow plays with daggers and traps and the strongest attribute combination is intelligence and dexterity. Monk play unharmed and quarterstaffs and the strongest attribute combination is intelligence and dexterity. Templar plays with flails and the strongest attribute combination is strength and intelligence. Druid plays with space shift spells and the strongest attribute combination is strength and intelligence. These classes provide a strong foundation for builds. Choosing the right class will be the best way to progress. 3 ascendancies will be available to each class. It means will be available a total of 36. These are specializations for your characters, each one giving more customization into your characters, providing a small passive tree that provides powerful bonuses which are often build defining. The details on how to ascend are yet to be revealed, but they will occur during the campaign Acts 2, 3 and 4. One of the defining features of Path of Exile is the gigantic passive skill tree. As you level up, you will gain points to spend on this tree to grant bonuses to your characters. Your starting location will be based on your class. Intelligence-based nodes are the top third of the tree, strength on the left and dexterity on the right. This image is not from Path of Exile 2, but from Path of Exile 1. While the exact nodes and tree won't be the same, the class starting positions will be the same. There will be 3 types of nodes on the tree. The small passives providing small bonuses like damage, attribute, accuracy, armor, etc. Notables, slightly larger nodes that usually end the chain of small passives in a cluster, These clusters provide similar bonus to identify which areas you may want to travel to. Keystones are the last type of nodes and the largest. These nodes provide powerful effects that can alter a character but also come with downside to make up for the powerful effects, so make sure to choose wisely. This will be a major change to the passive tree in Path of Exile 2. This new system allows to allocate certain points of different nodes. Basically, you are almost creating two different passive trees for your character. When swapping weapon, your character will automatically match their skills. This is a new mechanic coming to Path of Exile 2. It's a movement skill that lets your character roll in a specific direction. When timed correctly, you can avoid projectiles and attacks or even cancel skill animations, if you find yourself in a dangerous situation. Keep in mind, rolls cannot be cancelled, and rolling will not be faster than walking. Path of Exile uses life, the red pool on the left, and mana, blue pool on the right. Path of Exile 2 introduces a new resource called Spirit, the yellowish bar above the mana pool. Life will keep your character alive, mana is used to cast your skills, and Spirit will be used for persistent effects, like permanent buffs, auras and minions will consume this resource. Skill Gems is a unique system in Path of Exile. Unlike other games, in Path of Exile the skills your character uses come in a form of a skill gem. These skill gems can be any skill, and there are a ton in the game. Skill gems are broken down into 12 subcategories, one matching each class. This item will allow you to pick any skill gem in the game. Some skill gems require a certain level, so if you find one early in the game does not mean you will have access to every skill just yet. Furthermore, with these uncut skill gems, you can access any skill in the game regardless of your class. In Path of Exile 2, every character will have access to 9 slots to equip skill gems. Every skill gem can have up to 5 support gems. By default, your skill gems will have access to a minimum of 2 support gems when found. While you progress and upgrade them, you'll unlock up to 5 sockets. Support gems grant additional effects to your skill, and there will be much more to explore when the game releases. Every gem has a color. Red gems correspond to strength, blue to intelligence, and green to dexterity. Skill gems will have an attribute requirement based on their color. Support gems will also affect your attribute requirement. As you link support gems onto a skill gem, the attribute requirement for the skill will increase based on the colors. Like I said at the beginning, your skill gems can also benefit from the dual specialization passive tree. Every character will have access to 2 weapon slots that you can swap between. These weapon swaps will automatically use the dual specialization tree, allowing your character more freedom to access different bonuses for different skills. Meta gems are special skill gems that can be allocated as skill or support gems, also known by trigger gems. When a condition is fulfilled, the meta gem will cast the supported skill gems. An example, a meta gem called Cast on Shock. When you shock enough enemies, the meta gem will cast any supported skill gems. With a gem like this, you can cast 5 skill gems, as this is the maximum number of support sockets. Or you can set up a system where you only cast 3 skill gems but the other 2 sockets have support gems, buffing up to those 3 skill gems. Flasks is a system in Path of Exile that are essentially potions. There are not much information on flasks on Path of Exile 2, but expect to be the same like Path of Exile 1. Characters have 5 flask slots and there are 3 types of flasks: life, mana and utility. Life and mana are quite self-explanatory. Utility flasks provide buffing effects to your character. Flasks have a set amount of charges and as you kill monsters they will be replenished. Towns will also have a well where you can replenish them, and of course you can craft them as well. By default, a character has 9 equipment slots: weapon, helmet, chest, gloves, boots, amulet, 2 rings and belt. Each one will provide different bonuses and modifiers. And what is these modifiers? They are bonuses called modifiers or affixes that split into 3 subcategories: implicits, prefixes and suffixes. Implicits are the base item bonus like armor on a chest or physical damage on a weapon. On top of that, items will also have prefixes and suffixes that provide additional modifiers, up to 3 each. There are 4 tiers of item rarity: normal with no prefixes suffixes, magic with up to 1, rare with up to a maximum of 3, Unique, these are special items with powerful effects, but they can't be crafted. A strong equipment should have some unique items, and most of them will be rare items, because some stats are not present in unique items. Some of these are important to understand, so let's have a quick look. Resistance. This is the most important stat. By default, each character can have up to 75% resistance, reducing the damage you take from fire, cold, lightning and chaos. You want to increase these stats as much as possible, especially important when facing a boss with this type of damage. You don't need to raise your resistance to 75% right away, but keep in mind that if you're taking too much damage from this element, you should increase it. Damage mitigation is different. Resistance applies to elemental damage. Damage mitigation applies to physical damage. For each attribute increases something. Strength increases life and armor, dexterity increases evasion, and intelligence increases energy shield. This one is similar to life, but regenerates differently. Life can be recovered with flasks or life regeneration. Energy shield will regenerate quickly if you haven't taken damage recently. Another difference is that chaos damage bypasses energy shield, so be careful when taking chaos damage. What about armor and evasion? Armor will mitigate physical damage based on the amount of armor you have, and evasion will provide a chance to evade damage completely. All of these will depend on your character as well. If you are a marauder building strength, you're probably focusing on armor and life for defensive stats, but if you are a ranger, life and evasion should be a focus. Damage in Path of Exile 2 is more complex and it's divided in several damage types. Attacks deals damage mostly with weapons, spells deals damage based on gems and gems level, damage over time deals damage based on gems and gems level, and secondary damage. It's scaled by specific bonuses. Attacks are skill gems that will do damage based on your weapon. Scaling the weapon damage is very important. If your weapon has a modifier increased physical damage, it will scale the base damage of your weapon higher. Let's check this example. If we have a weapon with a base physical damage of 100 and no modifier on it, if the passive tree has 100% increased physical damage, the result will be 100 times 1 plus 100% equal to 200. If the weapon has 50% increased physical damage and the passive tree has 50% increased physical damage, the result will be 225, according with these calculations. The same applies to other modifiers like crit chance. Spells are different from attacks, they have their own base damage on the skill gem and base crit chance. In Path of Exile 2, weapon types like wands don't have attack stats like in Path of Exile 1, so you don't need to worry about this. Spells are scaled with modifiers that increase your gem's level, increasing the base damage of your skill gem. Damage over time is similar to spells since they scale with the skill gem. Secondary damage applies to certain skill gems. For example, in Path of Exile 1, Herald of Ash is an aura skill gem that deals fire damage in an area around an enemy when they die. To scale this damage you will specifically need modifiers or nodes that will increase this damage, like increased fire damage or increased area damage. The campaign is essentially the story. You'll need to complete the campaign to access endgame system. Path of Exile 2 campaign will consist of 6 chapters. Like every other game of this genre, you will need to progress doing quests, side quests, and leveling your characters. In Path of Exile 1, there was no gold or traditional currency in the game. The currency revolved around crafting items. It means the currency in the game is also the items you use to craft on new equipment. The items that provide stronger crafting effects will be worth more compared to other currency items. However, Path of Exile 2 is releasing with gold, which will be a change to existing Path of Exile players. Gold will drop throughout the game and will be automatically looted. You will use gold at NPC vendors to buy or gamble items. Gold cannot be traded or earned outside of the game. In Path of Exile 2, Grinding Gear Games is looking at a potentially instant buy features and adding more quality of life features to trade, which will be likely be powered by gold. While you won't be buying items with gold, the gold will simply allow you to interact with trade, letting your purchased items from other players with currency. There are also other currency items, like Chaos Orbs. These ones removes one random modifiers and then adds a new random modifier. The Divine Orbs randomize the values of the random modifiers on an item. These ones are not confirmed yet by the Grinding Gear Games to Path of Exile 2, but will be likely added into the game. Divine Orbs are the currently standard for trading expensive items in Path of Exile 1. This is due to rarity of these orbs dropping in-game. It's possible Path of Exile 2 will have a different currency to fulfill the role of the Divine Orb. Crafting is another mechanic complex with a lot to talk about, but Grinding Gear games have not released much information about crafting in Path of Exile 2. As you can see, even explaining everything briefly can be a lot, but you don't need to know everything and every detail to enjoy this game. But if you want to maximize your character as much as possible, of course, all this information will be useful. As you play more, you will learn more, eventually building your character stronger. Hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave that like and subscribe to the channel in the comments exclusive to Path of Exile 2 or this channel with more variety content. Thank you so much for watching, and see ya next time.